Hello readers and digital people, and welcome back to GP Reads. I am your host, Grant Reads, and today we are talking about something that's, well, it's kind of been the spotlight lately, and that is liminal spaces. There's been a new series come out, well, semi-new series come out, that has become really popular, involving the idea of liminal spaces, and that is the Backrooms. And I will be watching the Backrooms today, but today's video I really want to talk about the idea of liminal spaces, what it means for humanity, what it has represented in humanity's history, and what it means to me personally. Okay, so for the last month, I've been looking over so many articles about liminal spaces, what they actually mean scientifically, things like that. But, you know, in doing that, I feel like I'm doing the whole idea of liminal spaces a disservice, because it's really how these places relate to us on a personal, deep, emotional level. So I'm going to go ahead and give you my perspective on that first. Okay, so my first thought on liminal spaces is they're spaces that are in-betweens, like a long hallway, the back room of an office, places that people aren't really usually located in. And I think a lot of the fears come from the fact that you feel like you're not supposed to be there. And you feel like because you are there, you're going to get in trouble, you're going to get caught. And in a societal frame of view, yes, I could definitely see that, but there's also this kind of primal aspect to it. You feel like because you're not in a place with a lot of people, that you're in danger, not because you're in danger of getting trouble, but you're in danger of being hunted or killed. There's some kind of primal instinct in the back of my brain that really grips me and tells me you need to hurry and get from the liminal space into where you need to be, or something is going to hunt you down. Now, the interesting thing about that, and this is kind of what they cover in the Backrooms, is maybe there is a reason behind that, and not so much in the sense of, well, as our ancestors progressed, maybe they passed on that fear through the genes of not being in a group being dangerous because animals can hunt you down. And maybe it's more so there's some kind of energy, some kind of energy source, some kind of energy being, some kind of, I guess what you could call monster that lurks in those liminal spaces. And the idea of that is actually communicated pretty well in the works of H.P. Lovecraft. The spaces between dimensions, the liminal spaces of the universe, as one could say, is basically where the eldritch beings come from. Beings like Cthulhu, Azathoth, all of the outer gods kind of come from this dimension between dimensions, this liminal space between dimensions, if you will. So if our minds are programmed to think in that way, scale that back to reality, and the liminal spaces in the day-to-day on planet Earth, what could that mean for us? Is there something lurking in the shadows? Is it a primal fear from animals being lurking in those shadows? But then again, think about it. Even animals most of the time are not in those liminal spaces. Those liminal spaces are left empty for a reason. And going into my research, there's always this feeling of nostalgia to it. Like you've seen this place before, and something about the nostalgia of it, instead of actually being a good nostalgic memory, it's more so like, holy crap, this is where something happened, or just, there's this weird fear. Honestly, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it now. There's this weird fear of being in a place familiar. It's almost like someone took our memories, altered our memories. Like, you know the people, I hate to relate this, but you know the people that say they were abducted by aliens, and they have like these portions of memory that aren't really completed memories? And they'll see something like a dentist table that reminds them of their abduction, and then they'll have like panic attacks. It's like that. It's like something actually happened to us in these liminal spaces that we don't quite remember, but we know something happened there. And that's the oddest part about liminal spaces. I mean, really think about that. But then again, let's think about liminal spaces from some of the research I've done. Let's take that into consideration now. So, of course, it's the fear of being alone, the fear of being hunted, and the fear of being a place you shouldn't be. But really think about liminal spaces. They're places to get us from one place to another. When you're in that, you're in a zero zone. And what I mean to say by a zero zone is there's nothing there. It's boredom. So if you were trapped in that nothing zone, there's nothing to get to, nothing to escape from. It is the realization that you are... It's odd. I want to say pointless. You're in this place where everything is pointless. When you're in a ghost town, there's nothing there. You're in a place that was built by humanity to function, yet there's nothing working there now. And you get that same feeling in a liminal space, because it's like it's built by humanity, some like ancient ruins or something, like something happened here, everybody died here. That's the feeling you get in a liminal space because it's man-made, but there's nothing there. It's a ghost town. You almost get that vibe that somebody's watching, hunting, because it's a ghost town situation. Like, what happened to the people here, subconsciously? It's such an odd thing, but there's so many liminal spaces in our lives. Like I said, going through a hallway, going into back buildings that aren't used anymore. People are even curious of liminal spaces and are encouraged to actually go out and discover them by parts of their mind, which I also find really odd. And I'm talking about the urban explorers. Urban explorers, what they do is they look for those liminal spaces. They have a drive to go find them. Why is it that some people have a drive to go find them, and then others are completely terrified by them? Really take that into consideration. It's odd, isn't it? Now, you've never really thought about it that way. Probably. I didn't until I did all this research. But it's odd, isn't it? What is really in these liminal spaces? What do they mean to humanity, actually? It really connects to the human psyche, the part of it that is our drive. The part of it that says, you need to go here to do this. And when you're in the means to an end portion, there's a part of your brain that is in the incomplete state, and the incomplete state will cause you to have some form of distress. That's what I got from the studies of the brain regarding liminal spaces, is that it's actually a form of stress. It's not a form of fear. It comes out as fear sometimes, but the chemicals that are released are actually the chemicals that are associated with stress. And the reason you feel stressed is, like I said, because you're not in point A or point B, you're in the in-between. And you're like, okay, I've got to hurry and get to the other point, because now I'm stuck in limbo. Now I'm stuck where I can never finish. It's the same feeling you get if you're stuck creatively, if you're having a creative block. It's like living in a physical creative block. I don't know, it's a really fascinating concept. I'm surprised that people haven't been more interested in it until recently. I mean, there have been studies conducted before, but it's like the whole collective consciousness of humanity has shifted focus to it. And again, we got to ask why. Because it's before the Backrooms. This all started before the Backrooms. Really, why is our focus on the spaces in between now? Have we reached a point where we don't know how to get from point A to point B anymore? Is that what it is? Now we're focusing on the how because we can't figure out how to bridge it? I really think it is. I think that humanity has reached a point where we know something needs to change. We know that there needs to be a B, but we don't know what that B is now, so we're stuck in A. And A is not working. So this is really all about humanity's progress when you think about it. It's humanity being ready to move on. And that's really all I have to say about it. I'm going to watch, actually I've not watched it at the time of this recording, but I'm going to watch The Backrooms for the very first time. I have not watched Kane Pixels Backrooms series yet. I'm going to have a live reaction. I don't think I'm going to do it all at once. I'm going to do it episodically, give some theories, some ideas, and we'll make it like a little mini-series. So I will see you all next time. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, keep your eyes wide open and never stop reading. I'll see y'all. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank my patrons and channel members. Thanks to you, I'm able to do what I love. All proceeds go back towards the channel for props, for costumes, and for any trips we take or any games we play. CNK114, Investigator Zeus, Dobby's Music, Jerry Mullins, Free Spirit Katie, Poof Poof, and MC Darfer. Really, thank you all so much for allowing me to do what I love to do.